in August 2014, Kyra was enjoying a hike through a national park in Colorado. She had strayed off the trail many times in the past, but had never once seen a mountain lion in the wild until now. When she heard a twig snap behind her, she turned, and there it was, a mountain lion standing 10 to 15 feet away from her. Kyra knew not to run or make any sudden movements. Calmly, she started to back away. The lion crept forward, and no matter what move Kyra made, the lion only advanced, pouncing within a few feet of her. She didn't know whether she was going to make it back, and with adrenaline taking over, Kyra decided to do something radical. At the top of her lungs, Kyra started singing opera. The lion backed off, it put its ears down and just kept looking at her, while she quickly called her roommate, who alerted the authorities. The lion retreated and she walked calmly back to the trail where several deputies waited to meet her. This story reminded me of the famous quote by Geena Davis: "If you risk nothing, then you risk everything." We live in a world which is highly uncertain and complex, much like the games of poker and chess. These games demand a high level of skill and are about calculatedly making the best decisions in an environment of uncertainty. I would like to discuss 3 ideas with you today based on my experience as a poker player about navigating uncertainty successfully. The first idea: betting big. By betting, I mean betting on ourselves. We bet on ourselves by embracing uncertainty. You see, the brain likes certainty. It wants clear answers, clear cause, and clear effect. We humans are wired to look for predictable patterns and avoid situations that risk us losing security. But the truth is that certainty is an illusion. And instead of trying to avoid uncertainty and exercise in futility, we should work to cultivate conditions that unleash the potential within us, the potential to navigate uncertainty with greater creativity and courage, much like Kyra did. Before winning at poker tournaments all over the world and managing to consistently come out on top in a male-dominated game, I had to challenge the status quo and break many stereotypes. From convincing my parents that poker tournaments can be played as a profession, to educating friends that poker is not a speculative card game but a mind sport, to sometimes even fighting off the doubts that crept up in my own mind about the unconventional path I was following. What kept me going was my conviction in my own inherent potential to navigate through uncertain times. You see, taking risks is a necessary condition to advance in life. Risk clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of evolutionary spirit. In his annual letter to shareholders in 2016, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos said, "If you have conviction on a particular direction, even though there's no consensus, it's helpful to say, 'Look, I know we disagree, but will you take a risk with me on this? Disagree and commit.'" Getting people to agree with your point of view can be difficult and time-consuming. Instead of trying to convince people that we are right, Bezos says we should ask them to take a risk. Convincing yourself can be just as hard as convincing others. When we are faced with a tough decision, such as a career move, the voices inside us tend to pull us in opposite directions. You can't ignore this voice, but you can ask it to take a risk, to disagree and commit. As Bezos points out, this is different than trying to convince yourself that the path you took was obvious. Instead, you accept that the decision was not obvious, and then you commit to increasing the likelihood of success. This kind of thinking is key to Bezos' success, and it's what makes Amazon an unstoppable force. Without the freedom to risk a misstep, people will only make small changes, cautiously iterating on what is already in place rather than boldly innovating. Instead, bet on yourself and on embracing risk and cultivate a culture of courage. Which brings me to the second idea I want to discuss with you today: going all in. Poker is a very dynamic game, and there is no one set way of playing. Your strategy is constantly changing according to many factors, such as the opponent you are facing, your position, your stack size, level of the tournament, etc. You need to constantly adapt and adjust to these variables before you can make your move. Even on a macro level, the game of poker is constantly evolving. Every few years, a talented crop of new players totally changes the way the game is played and therefore how it should be approached to be successful. I have had to disrupt myself numerous times over my career to remain at the top of the game. Even as I'm preparing for this TED talk, there is an IIT and whiz kid somewhere sitting and running simulations on his supercomputer and studying its solutions. Poker players are constantly being pushed out of their comfort zone, and there is a constant need to learn, unlearn, adapt, and grow. We've all heard the only constant is change. So, how do you survive? Rather, how do you thrive in a changing environment? By going all in on being an adaptive person or an adaptive organization. In the same letter to shareholders, Amazon's Jeff Bezos also said most decisions should be made with somewhere around 70% of the information you wish you had. If you wait for 90%, in most cases, you're being too slow. In other words, take action now and become good at course correcting and iteration instead. Keep adapting and adjusting as you go along. You can do your best to craft a good positioning for your product, but you cannot ultimately control the positioning the market decides for you. For example, in America, moms bought Avon's Skin So Soft lotion. Originally a moisturizing lotion, but they bought it as insect repellents for the kids. And Avon now markets and sells it for that purpose. In fact, in 2018, Avon became America's #1 insect repellent lotion. Iterate and adapt. Another example is Google. Google Ads आपने देखा है ना? If you search for candles, Google Ads will show you candles and not raincoats. It uses algorithms to update the position of an ad on the basis of it being relevant to a person. That is an example of adaptive technology. Go all in on the skill of adapting, the skill of course correcting, the skill of efficient iteration, and become indomitable. The third and most fun idea to thrive in uncertainty, catching bluffs. When I was a little girl, we went to visit my grandmom, and there's a grocery store about 7 minutes walk away from her place. Now I was very young and not used to walking out all alone, but one day I got hungry, and while everyone was taking a nap, I picked up 10 rupees from the kitchen counter and went to go buy myself a packet of chips. When I came back, my grandmom was delighted and told me what a brave girl I am and how one should always learn to take care of themselves. Fast forward a few months and we go to visit my grandmom again. And this time I'm more confident and decide to buy myself a snack from the store. So I go hopping and skipping, you know how kids are. But this time I have a fall and I come back home with a bleeding knee. My grandmom is now positively alarmed and tells me never to venture out on my own again. And thinking back on this incident, I realize how biased we are by our emotions and by the nature of outcomes about forming a judgment on whether the same decision was correct or incorrect. For the same decision, I got a positive reaction in one instance and a negative reaction in another. To say a decision was good or bad based on the result is the biggest bluff of all time. We humans have a tendency to fail to look at decisions objectively. We see this everywhere. An engineering student who wanted to be an actor fails, comes back home, and his parents don't support him when he needs it the most. The same engineering student goes and does well in acting, and society applauds him for his courage. But it is not about that. It is not about the outcome of your decision. It is about how well you executed your decision. Did you give it your absolute best? Did you dive into deep learning? Did you master every minute nuance of the field you chose? Poker really teaches you about that, about self-evaluating objectively, about looking at decisions in a vacuum, irrespective of the outcome or result. For example, last year, I entered a tournament in Las Vegas. It had 2,000 entries and it was down to two people. I was heads up for the trophy, and there was another professional from the UK sitting across me. I looked down at my hand and I see an ace and a king. My opponent had an ace and a queen, a weaker hand than mine. We both go all in, and now I am mathematically about 70% ahead to win the trophy and the title. And just the previous year, I had won a World Series title, and here I was with a 70% chance to go back to back. I could already see it. I could see the victory. But lo and behold, the queen falls on the board. The 30% probability comes, hits me in my face, and I settle for second place. Of course, I was miserable in that moment. But that doesn't mean that what I did was wrong, that my decision was incorrect. If I was in that situation again, I would do the exact same thing every single time, because that is the mathematically and strategically correct thing to do. Just in this instance, it didn't work out, but in the long run, it'll be the profitable decision to make. Luckily in poker, we have maths to back up evaluating whether a decision was correct or not. Life, on the other hand, is much more complicated. There are infinite external factors and forces always at play which are beyond our control. But your job is to improve in the areas that are in your control and find peace in knowing that you are doing your absolute best. And then, as they say, whatever happens, happens. The key is to be honest with yourself. Even our ancient scriptures teach us to detach from outcomes. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says, Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Meaning, you can claim you're right on the work, but not on the results. So don't fall for the bluff. Don't be result oriented. Decisions are separate from outcomes. In conclusion, we need to destigmatize failure. Failure should in fact be celebrated because we dared to expand our horizon. Failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to evolve. In sports, why do we say a more experienced player has an advantage over a less experienced player? What is it about experience that makes them better? It is the wealth of knowledge they have accumulated over time by learning from their failures. The more time they have spent getting better at something, the more obstacles they have overcome. In other words, more failure they have overcome. Failing is in a way only propelling you forward. It is a cliche thing to say, but it really is about the journey and not the destination. Do you ever watch a movie just to get to the end of it? You know how it's going to end. The guy and the girl are going to be together. Or do you go on a vacation to get to the end of it? No, you do it for the experience of it. Failing is a part of the experience that is life. Too many people spend life tiptoeing around, flying under the radar, hoping to get by. I say don't tiptoe. Hop, skip, jump, fall, get back up. Go out there. Bet on yourself. Embrace risks. Be bold. Inspire. There has never been a better time to explore your own human potential. We have access to so much information just at the click of a button. Explore the beautiful journey that is life. If you fail, course correct, pivot, iterate, go all in, adapting to change. Carve your own unique path, and if someone says failure is born of a bad decision, evaluate and call the bluff. As we say in poker, #trust the process. With that, I'm going to leave you with this question today. Are you playing not to lose, or are you playing to win? Thank you.